Now let's discuss another unit operation called evaporation. As the name suggests, this is the removal of water or concentration of food by removing some of the water by boiling. The water gets converted into water vapors and the solid contents of the food are increased. That would mean that the water activity is changed. It becomes less desirable for microorganisms to grow. The water activity is reduced. That would mean that the shelf life can be extended. Other benefits of evaporation other than the shelf life extension are also that the products would have a lesser weight and the food can be transported easily. For example, fruit juices, milk and coffee, their weight would be reduced and they can be transported for a long distance, and the volume would be reduced, so lesser amount of food has to be carried, so it would be costing less amount of money. If we talk about the way food is heated, normally the sensible heat, that is the heat which can be determined by measuring the temperature of any food. This sensible heat is transferred to the food through whatever medium we use, whether it's steam or other mediums. So the sensible heat is transferred to food, and then it would raise the temperature of food up till its boiling point, and when the boiling point is reached, then the latent heat of vaporization would be supplied, and this would be actually helping in formation of bubbles or vapors that would remove these vapors or bubbles from food into the surrounding environment. So this sensible heat would be heating temperature the food to a boiling temperature, and then the latent heat would be taking away these vapors or water vapors or any bubbles or gaseous forms into the atmosphere. We have to look at the heat balance as well as the mass balance to calculate the degree of concentration that is done, or the degree of heating that has to be done, or amount of energy that is consumed. So these calculations are involved actually to know what is the final product and what would be the cost to achieve that final product. If we talk about what are different factors that affect the heat transfer of food, it is temperature difference between the heating medium and the food or the boiling liquid. The greater is the difference, the shorter is the time. Similarly, if there are any deposit upon the heating surface, because the heating surface may have some of the deposits or sediments that would be affecting the heat transfer. And similarly, in certain cases, for example in milk, there are chances that the boundary films are formed up on the surfaces that would reduce the shift or transfer of heat from the surface to the interior of the tube or container where the liquid is flowing. So these are all factors that determine what is the rate of heat transfer to the food. If we say that what are the factors that affect the economics of evaporation, so we need to look at the vapor compression rate, like how much vapor can be compressed in a given environment. What is the level of preheating that is done to food? For example, if their food are preheated before they are boiled, there would be lesser amount of heat that would be utilized. And for the same purpose, there is a concept called multiple effect evaporation, where the food that is incoming for heating or boiling, that has to be preheated with the waste steam that is initially produced. So this steam, before it goes away from the heating system, that can be used to preheat the incoming liquids. If we talk about the structure of evaporators, normally all of them have a heat exchanger medium, which is technically called as calandria, and this transfers heat from steam into the food. Then there has to be another component that would be removing, because food is heated, it produces vapors, then we have to have some mean to remove that vapors from the surface of that food. There could be mechanical or steam ejector vacuum pumps. The mechanical pumps, they remove the steam from above the food surface in a mechanical manner, and the vacuum pumps actually they also remove by creating vacuum. The mechanical pumps have higher cost, initial higher cost, but they are more effective to remove the moisture contents or the vapors that are compressed on the top of the surface of the food. There are different techniques, there are different methods, there are different equipments which are used. We only see one here. They could be open or closed pan evaporators that are used in industry to heat directly food by gas or electricity source. So these food are heated, then we can have the vacuum in case of vacuum operation, we can have a lid, and then we create a stirrer and a paddle that would be creating vacuum, and the moisture would be removed from the food. If we talk about the effect of evaporation on food, there may be different aroma compounds. They might be removed because the food has to be boiled at 100 degrees C. So any volatile which has got lower boiling point than water, and most of them they have lower boiling point than water, so they would be actually also lost with before the water or moisture is removed from food, and this would reduce the sensory quality. Most of the fruit juices, most of the volatile would be lost, so maybe the final product doesn't have that good quality. But in certain cases there are undesirable flavors as well. They can be removed from certain food products, so it might be beneficial in very few cases. These volatiles, in case of fruit juices, especially when the value of these volatile is very high, they have to be recovered by vapor condensation method, and then they can be re-added to the final product, which is evaporated, which is concentrated, but the vapor or the flavor components can be re-added to increase the value of these food products. So this was all about evaporation methods and effect of food that evaporation that imparts on the food.